Welcome to our 2023 Communication Awards webinar. We are here to kind of mostly talk about some of the changes that were accepted by the board. We had our meeting at the last AMPIC and recommended some changes to the awards, and so that'll be mostly what we do. And so let me these are our national committees, the regional vice chairs. So we've got Iris Mays in the Western region and Laura McDermott, Northeast region, Daniel Leonard down in the South, and Jeremy Jubenville over in the North Central region. These are your regional vice chairs. And so if you have questions and your state chair can't answer those questions, the next step up would be to talk to your regional vice chair as you're doing your communication awards applications. The agenda, what we will be talking about today, we'll have I will talk about the eligibility and judging criteria, and I really need to stress the timeline. We don't want to be delaying things. Iris was going to do the published photo event package. She ended up being sick, and so I will do that one for her. Jeremy will be talking about feature article, computer generated presentation with script, and Laura will talk about fact sheet and educational video recording. Now, there are more categories than that. It's not just these 6 categories. These are just the ones that we made changes in. There are actually 13 different categories. And so take a look at those when you get onto it. We're not going to go through all the web page kind of stuff, I don't think. We'll see how it goes when we get to the end here. So let me talk about first the eligibility and judging criteria. The changes that the board accepted is down here in the red. Strike out the entries must have been for, it doesn't really change, nothing's changed here. It's just the wording that's changed on this. The entries must be first used by the member between March 15th of the year prior, and so it doesn't really change. Well, the entries must have been created with a major input from the member. That's always kind of been understood, but sometimes we get a minor member of a team putting in the application because it looks better on there. That's not what we want. We want it to be a major input, and so you need to spell that out in the abstract. And then the materials must be first be made public to the made available to the public. I'm sorry, between March 15th of the prior year and March 15th of this year. So in other words, it's not something you're recycling, it's new material. We want to see new material in our communications package. And for the most part, it almost has to be new material because it's a new program and whatnot. But sometimes we might see somebody trying to resubmit a fact sheet or something like that. And if it's gone in, if it was available last year, in last year's cycle, well, even though it didn't make it to a state chair position, it's old material. We want to see material that was submitted between March 15th of 2022 and March 15th of 2023. Okay. Now, I want to point out on the website, and we'll have to correct this, but on the website, it said that state chairs, national vice chairs, national chairs, and board members are not eligible for communications award. For most of us, that's true, but not for the state chairs. I just wanted to point this out. The state chair, although this says it on the website, the handbook states that the state committee chairs on the Program Recognition Council committees, when a Program Recognition Council committee chair does submit, and this is for state chairs, does submit an application for an award program, their committee is in charge of. In other words, if you're the communications chair for the state and you submit an application, and if it wins the state level, you need to send up not only the winner, but in that case, we would send the second place winner from your state as well. So you can, if you're a state chair, you can still apply. And I guess that's the point here. According to the handbook, we will accept what the handbook says because that's our rules. We'll fix the website, but but the state chairs can apply, but if their application wins, they must send up, if they're the main person who submitted the application and it wins, they must send up the second place one as well. And what the regional vice chair judges decide will be it. And there can only be one from a state. So let's say you got two really good ones from Florida, and they both, first and second place, the regional. No, that's not the way it works. The best one from Florida, the regional judges decide that will be from Florida. The other Florida application then is taken out of consideration, and the other state applications then are considered. Okay, so it won't give any state an advantage of having two applications where every state can only submit their winner. But we need to make sure that there's no bias from the state chair that could be frowned upon by the association. So I just wanted to point that particular point out there. State chairs, you're welcome to submit applications, but make sure we follow that rule. And then let's talk about this timeline. March 15th is very, 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 very important. Okay. The end of the day, March 15th, your applications need to be submitted, completed and submitted. I would encourage state chairs to look at those a day or two before. You look at your state applications and check to make sure all the links and everything work. Now, sometimes they apparently haven't, but we want to make sure that they all work, and it's really up to the state chairs to make sure. If you verified and then later in the system we can't get a link, if the state chairs have verified that this one all works, then that's great. We'll go back and we'll say, okay, we need to fix this link, we need to get the material. We're not going to punish the applications just because a link stopped working or something like that. So the state chairs, you need to verify that your state winner applications work, and it's good to verify that all of them work, so that there's no problem as we go up the line. Okay, so make sure do that 2 or 3 days before. Now you can't do your judging before the 15th of March, because everybody has until the end of the day on the 15th of March. So if they don't get it in there early, they get it just 10 o'clock March 15th, they still need to be judged. But you want to make sure that those are all good and complete applications that have been submitted as complete applications. And after March 15th, no changes. That's it. Okay, March 15th, that's it. That's the application that will go to the regional level and to the national level, if it makes it that far. So then those state winners, they're submitted to the regional vice chairs by April 1st. Okay. There are times when state chair didn't get the job done. We are not going to punish individual applications because the state chair didn't get the job done. So the regional vice chairs will be checking to say, hey, it's a couple days before these are due. They'll check with those state chairs and say, make sure that those have been done. We really, really need to get them done by April 1st, but we're not going to punish individual applications because the state chair fell down on the job. But we will kind of harass the state chairs to make sure those get completed. And then the regional vice chairs will submit them to their judges, and they're submitted to the national level by April 15th. So I get them at the national level by April 15th. And then I've got 15 days to get those as soon as I can. March 1st is always my target. Sometimes, some of the applications, they have physical materials that need to be mailed, and want to think ahead on those things as well. If you've got a published book, and it's a hard copy type thing, or any other thing where you have to have hard copy materials, make sure you think ahead so that those things can get sent up the line in order to make these deadlines. And if it's got to be mailed here, then I've got to get it to my judges, and I can't do any of the judging in that particular category until all the materials here. Think ahead. I will say, when it comes to your application, make it as easy as possible for the judges to look at each one of these have a scorecard, and you can get the scorecard off the website. That's right there. You can see what they're judging on, what they're told they need to be judging on. Make sure it's as easy as possible for the judges to judge that entry, because you know, if you have to wade through an abstract that's written weird or something like that, it makes it hard. And truth be told, whether it's a really good application or not, a lot of times that will knock you down in points. So so make it easy. And then the abstracts, an abstract is one paragraph. That's our guidance in the association. I know that technically it can be more than one paragraph, but our guidance is an abstract is one paragraph. So don't do 3 or 4 different paragraphs to kind of break it out. It's not creative writing. This is an abstract. It's a summary of whatever it is your project is. So make sure that you do that. And in the abstract, be sure to enter the information. Most of the categories in the description have they have what is expected in the abstract. Get that information in the abstract. Okay. Do we handle questions, Q&A or chat?
I'm not seeing anything, Ron.
Okay. All right, I don't either. Okay, Jeremy, let's go ahead and let you do that. They can get a break from me for a minute. Go ahead and do your
sure thing.
here. I'll stop sharing.
How's it look?
Great.
Awesome. Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing okay. As Ron mentioned, my name is Jeremy, and I am a floriculture agent with Michigan State University Extension, based in Kalamazoo County in sunny Southwest Michigan. So I have a few things I'd like to highlight for you today. Some rules changes, of course, but a couple of places where people got tripped up in their applications last year. All right, so the first is feature article. This is one of my favorites. So last year, this category was known as feature story. And the description really seemed to, let's just say, confuse people. And it didn't really serve us the way it was intended. So the committee simplified the definition and by extension, the rules for this category. So a feature article is an article where the author is simply a guest writer for a publication. It is not a written work for a publication as part of a regular personal column. We do have a separate category for that. It can be with the same publisher where a personal column appears, but must not be just another issue of the regularly scheduled personal column. The point of the change is to put the emphasis on a well-written article as a guest writer. So hopefully that is pretty straightforward. So some tips here, and these come directly from the rules. So please, in your abstract, please indicate the day of publication. Please submit a PDF of the original copy of the article. And this is pretty important. Please submit a scanned copy of the final published article. And I really want to emphasize this because I ran into this issue last year. One of our North Central regional finalists submitted an excellent article, but didn't include the scanned copy of the published version. And because they didn't do this, their application was not considered at the national level. And this, frankly, it made me sad because it was the top scoring application from the region in that category and was very well written. I thought it stood a very strong chance of being a national winner, which is a total bummer. So, okay, if your article is published exclusively online, then there are some things that we can do. Right, so either take screenshots of the entire article as it was published and place them in the PDF, or simply just print the article from your web browser as it was published, to PDF or in an image format. We received some of those as well. you know, like JPEGs or PNGs, that will work just fine as long as the judges can see it. Applications, I can tell you right now, applications without both documents, well, will not be considered. Well, maybe at the regional, I probably should walk that back, but I know, I can tell you for a fact, it will not be considered at the national level. So please, both types of documents. Okay, next, right. So this is an example. This is from Whitney Ingram from Texas A&M. And so you can see in the upper right left-hand corner, this was the original article. So this was our press release, and that was just the doc right there. To the right, you can see that this was published. These are both published completely online. So this is what I'm talking about. So it looks like what she did is she had just simply, you know, printed the whole article out and submitted that as a PDF. This was picked up by, this was published in another in another publication down below. And you can also see that this was an online publication. They may have had a physical distribution, but this was clearly a computer generated graphic, and this worked brilliantly. So this is, I wanted to share this example so that we were pretty clear on the issue here. I don't want to see any more tragedies. So on to, well, before I go to that, before I move on, are there any questions about the feature article?
We've got a raised hand.
Okay. Let's do it.
Who is it? It's disappeared on me. Can you share again about the
about the online articles? Yeah, no problem. So that, you know, and that's an issue. So I could probably guess. I have not been an extension as long as others, but I imagine these rules were written before online publication was just all over the place and pretty much the norm at this point. So if this is only printed online, you're not going to be, there's no hard copy. You're not going to be able to scan anything. So what the judges want to see is that this was actually published. That's the whole point. So either take screenshots and stitch them together somehow so that you have, 2 or 3 pages or whatever, how many pages it takes, or just print that article out from your web browser. You can, usually most computers these days have a print to PDF option that should work just fine. If you are struggling with this, or if if your membership is struggling with this, it's just give me a shout, shoot me an email. We can probably help work them out. I would rather see everybody considered for this instead of last year. So hopefully that answers the question. If not, maybe I can try to re-explain it. So, and this is, go ahead.
I was just, I will say, when it comes to the national level, I look through these applications with a fine-tooth comb. They make it through the state level. They may make it through the national level. But when it comes to or the regional level, but when it comes to the national level, I really do, as much as I hate to, I really do make sure that they meet all the requirements, specific requirements. So if you submit 3, say like it's a different category, but you submit 2 of them, say for example, or you've got 2 different articles you submit in there. They're different articles. No, that's not what it says. And I would say, for your benefit here, if you're going to do, if it's been published in 2 or 3 different places, just pick the best one. You may indicate in the abstract that it was published here and here and here and here, but when it comes to actually looking at the article itself, pick the best one. So you've got your original document you've submitted, and then the best of whatever is published. Don't give us 3 or 4 different ones, because I'm not going to give my judges 4 different submissions. I'm going to give them 1 and 1. That would be the very best.
Thanks, Ron. I can tell you that I heard this from Ron last year too. So yes, it's all about reducing the workload on our judges. Okay, computer generated presentation with script. Okay, so not a ton of changes here. So here are some of the parameters that I want to emphasize. So maximum of 50 slides with a script. And you can upload this in PowerPoint or PDF format. Please do not submit video recordings of the presentation, right? So if you were given this like on Zoom, that is not going to suffice as a script. There, in the past, we have had members that have submitted a video that, you know, were an hour and a half long. And the judges, these are volunteers, folks. The judges do not have time for that. So it needs to be something typed out. So presentations that are created with Adobe Presenter or web conferencing or similar software and published online as recordings should be submitted under this category. But include the URL in the abstract, the web address in the abstract. Make it a 25 megabit maximum file size. I think that's probably easily doable. If your PowerPoints are that huge, I would first look to some of the graphics that you're using and seeing them if you can reduce the size on that. Some notes on the script, because this is mostly where we were focusing. So scripts can be a separate document. Scripts can be in the notes of the section, the notes section of a presentation like we have in PowerPoint and I think pretty much all other presentation software. Either one is just fine. Just make it easy, as Ron said, make it easy for the judges to find. That's really the big deal. If I make it easy for them to be able to determine which section. So if it's in a separate file, make sure they can determine which section of the script goes with a particular slide. So if I can't tell which words go with which slide, and I'm not going to send it to my judges because they probably won't either. And if they're going through a lot of these, then they're going to be busy as it is. So, our judges are volunteers, take time out of their schedule to help our organization. So the least we could do is make it as easy as possible to evaluate our applications. A little bit of a thank you. I think that is pretty much it. Yes, it is. Are there any questions about computer presentational script? Hopefully that is straightforward too. Maybe we have another one in the Q&A. I think, sounds like we're good, Ron.
Okay. All right, great. Do you want to go next, Laura, or should I go do my next?
Either one.
Okay. Okay, while you're getting your thing, you go ahead and get ready to go. And while I'm doing, Scott did inform me that he's changed the website for on the state application, state chair application. So that's been changed now. And so I appreciate Scott doing that. When I was preparing this, it hadn't been changed yet. So now it's changed and that's great. So, okay, swap your display, Laura.
All right, how do I do that?
Go up at the top where it says display settings.
Display setting. Hold on. I'm sorry. Oh yeah.
Right there, and then just swap. Yep.
Got it.
There you go, just like that.
That's
all
good.
right. Thanks, Ron, for asking me to be here. I appreciate it. And my name is Laura McDermott. I work in Eastern New York as part of the Cornell Cooperative Extension team. I'm the small fruit specialist on a 17-county team. And I have been doing the communications awards for a while as a state chair and then as the regional chair the last few years. So the biggest thing that I think that we've had the change in is the brand new website, which is extremely helpful and easier to navigate. So those of you who probably are on this for one of the first times won't know what the old website looked like, but this is a really great improvement. And I just want to, again, thank the organizational team and Scott for getting it done because it's very helpful. But on that communications page is the purpose and the eligibility and judging criteria, which is also helpful for folks that are applying for awards for the first time. So that's important to look at. And then the biggest thing that I feel like we keep getting tripped up on are our abstracts. And the abstract is really, really important. It's one of the quick ways that we can kind of disqualify people. The abstract should have a few very critical things. It's not difficult. We've all written abstracts, but it's very important not to forget any of these things. Ron kind of went over this, but briefly, it has to include the member's name, the state and the county. Team entries should be listed. A short summary that includes the objective, the purpose, why, when, how, audience number, and the audience and the results, kind of just any information that you can get about how you use this information in that abstract is important. Explain how the entry was prepared. And that's usually very straightforward. What kind of, did you do it in the field? Did you use office equipment? Did you actually have some assistance professionally, which is still okay, but you just should say it. And then how did you distribute the information? The abstract should include the member's contribution to the final product. And again, as Ron said, it should be a significant contribution. It should be one of the primary, the author should be one of the primary contributor, or the person who applying for the award. The abstracts for all regional and national winners will be published and posted. So remember that you want to make sure it reads well to the larger community. And then you can go onto either the brochure, the bulletin or magazine, or you can look in the website, but remember that the abstract is written as a single paragraph. So that's also really important. So I'm going to cover educational videos. This is another area. This educational is extremely important. This is not a promotional video. It is not kind of a general informational video about extension. It should try to teach your audience something. Again, one or more members have to contribute to or produce it. It should not be over 15 minutes long. Again, shorter. It's always harder, right, to have a good piece that's a short and concise and still gets to where you want to go. But that's very helpful for the judges, but it cannot be over 15 minutes long. The video can be a segment of a longer program. So this is a really important point, but that segment still cannot exceed 15 minutes. And the portion to be judged must be indicated in the abstract. You must have to make sure to provide the links, the URL with the beginning and the end of that segment so that we know exactly what we're judging. The abstract has to be submitted electronically, obviously, and should include all of the information that we just talked about. You can provide either the URL or you can actually upload an MP4 file. If you would like to do that, that's up to you. But there is a 25 megabyte maximum size for the uploaded files. So all of those things considered, the URL might possibly be the easiest way to do that. Let me see if I can, oops, there we go. So again, common questions. How long can that video be? 15 minutes max with a 25 megabyte maximum file size if it's uploaded. Can the video be a segment of a longer program? Yes, still limited to that maximum 15 minutes. Clearly indicate the beginning and end of that segment within the larger video. And remember, concise is really that's a good attribute for you. And the other thing I just want to make sure to say is that the abstract is important and the educational, not promotional, not infomercial, it's an educational piece. So let me go back actually. Do we have any questions on that educational video piece? I would like.
We've got one in the Q&A here. Can state chairs receive scorecards as separate word? Oh, that's a different thing. Okay, member name information, it should be listed in abstract box or on the website, or just listed as a nominee and team member section in an application on the website. The member's name doesn't need to be in the abstract. That's part of, you've got your name already on the application, and so you don't need to have, so you can see me talking, I guess. So you don't need to have the member name in the abstract itself. But if you've got a team, what you'll want to have in the abstract, because the application, yes, it's a team application. However, the abstract should point out that I am a major contributor, and so you would say, you know, the primary applicant or the application submitter, or however you want to put that in there, did this and this and this, so that we can see that it wasn't just some, you know, a team that's very experienced and they got some minor person that wants to, you know, get some credit for doing this kind of stuff. We want to see a major application or major input into the project itself.
Yeah, that's important. And one place where we've had problems with this particular thing is that if you're on a team and some member is either nominated by their team or just decides, oh, I'm going to do the team a favor, I'm going to nominate this piece. However, if you didn't have a substantial role in that project, you were the wrong person to move that thing forward as the member. You should probably try to help another member on your team nominate the whole project. If you've really done almost nothing on it, I would not be the person that actually does the you know, not gets your application moved forward.
Yeah, and we did add to that, we added a line in the scorecard of the video presentation, because a lot of universities have professional teams that put this stuff together for you. And so you know, you do some clips and that's all you did. You just recorded the clips and you send them up to a team and they put it all together, and all the new fancy kinds of stuff that makes it look really, really nice. The judges need to look at your participation in creation of that video. Now there's a question on here. Do you have to be in the video? No, you don't have to be in the video, but make sure you point out in the abstract then your involvement, and you've put together the plan. You've got your plan, you know, you put together the storyboard, you put together all the stuff that you know that you put into the video. And you may have done all the editing, and that's great too. I mean, with my videos, I do everything from beginning to end, and then I send it up. I even do all the branding for the university. I send up to the university, and so I do everything in my videos. Well, you know, I can't apply anyway, but that's all right. But you know, you want to spell that kind of thing out in the abstract, so you know that's 10 points right there, and that may be make the difference between whether or not you're the national winner or not. You know, the abstract usually there's. Oh, and I wouldn't want to say, you won't get kicked out for a poorly written abstract. That's not a disqualifier. However, it can be a point winner or a point loser. So make sure you do your abstract well.
Yeah, but you will get kicked out if you don't have an abstract at all, right? I mean, I've had that happen. There's no abstract at all.
Right. Well, yeah. Okay. If there's no abstract, I've never come across one without an abstract. But then Katie's got a question here. You've got a series of videos, each 3 to 5 minutes long, can multiple videos in the series. No, one video. The requirement is one video. So pick the best out of the 3. You may point out again in the abstract, this is a series of videos that covered this topic, and this topic, and this is the one that we're going to show you. Okay, so don't go back and combine them all together to make a new video, unless you're intending to make that whole conglomerate and you put that out to the public that way. We want to see what the public sees. So if you've got 3 different videos, but they, you know, they're in short segments, that's fine. Just spell that out in the abstract. I mean, 350 words is a lot of room in an abstract.
Right.
So you've got a lot of room to do that. So put that into, you know, into the abstract, that these are the 3 different topics, and this is the one I want you to judge. Don't go back and recombine them. I mean, you can, if that's the way you intend to. I'm going to submit a 4th video with all of them together, and it's out to the public that way. You know, that's acceptable, but you know, we don't want you to recombine anything. We want to see what the public sees.
Right. All right. Thanks, Ron. So quickly, fact sheet is, and this is fairly straightforward, except for the fact that a fact sheet is an educational piece on a single subject, and it cannot exceed 4 pages. And when we say 4 pages, it means one side of an 8.5 by 11, another side of an 8.5 by 11, like that. In the abstract, you have to indicate the audience purpose and number distributed, like we already explained. You're going to submit as a PDF or include a URL in the abstract if you want to use, if you're going to use that. A PDF of the final product is required. And then again, 25 megabytes of maximum file size. And this seems to be the biggest question. If a fact sheet, again, should highlight your knowledge on a single focus subject. So when we say that, we mean something like slender spindle tree training, not orchard management, which would be difficult probably to get that done in 4 pages, or managing spotted winged Drosophila, not invasive species management. Really focus on that subject. That will help you move forward. Now, having said that, I do have some broader scoped fact sheets that have been submitted and been very well designed and been actually focused towards a broad audience. And that was kind of explained in the abstract, and that they did pretty well. But this is, that's an important thing to consider. Just try not to make them too generalized. And again, more like an infomercial. But mostly the questions have to be what counts as a single page, 8.5 by 11, how many pages, no more than 4. If you print it out and it's on some kind of longer page, it still is not, it has to be an 8.5 by 11, and just don't make it more complicated. And then before we have other questions, I just want to make sure that folks know that the thing that Ron mentioned about submitting early is extremely important. I think most of the challenges that we have are because people submit very late on that March 15th date. We can't get in there to look at them until they're submitted. We don't even know they're there until they show up, like, at 10:30 at night. And there's not enough time for us to communicate to you that we have a little bit of a problem. We want you to be able to submit. We want you to be competitive. And with just a couple of minutes, really, we can kind of look at your submission and say, maybe you should rethink this or just tweak this one thing. That's totally legitimate. We're just assisting you, but it's really, really important. So if there's state chairs on this call, please communicate that to your membership. And then we can, and the fact is, in the Northeast, we have some problems. We don't have state chairs in every state. So that means that some of it's kind of getting shuttled to me, and it just, that's the challenge I find mostly, is just that communication at the last moment about what is appropriate and not appropriate. So please, just a day early. Thanks. I don't know if anybody has questions about the fact sheet.
I will say, and Jeremy, you say you wanted to answer this one question here. Just
go ahead.
I was going to say on the fact sheets, the reason we put in there, because some fact sheets are online, the reason we put in there about it must be on a PDF is because if it's not, if you create that PDF, then I can see. I don't have to go through and print off all these and say, okay, it's within the 4-page limitation, or it's not within the 4-page limitation, or whatever the case may be. That may change in the future. I'm not sure, but we'll see what the committee says this next year at our next meeting. But that's why we want that as a PDF. It used to be, just do the URL and the original submission kind of material. But that's not, or I can't remember, on the fact sheet anyway, but that's why we want it on a PDF. If it's an online thing and it's not a PDF, you do that work, get it into a PDF so that we can see that it fits that 4-page parameter. Okay, Jeremy, you had something you wanted to.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean to answer it live. I hit the wrong button, but I can do that anyway. I was just ham-fisting my keyboard there. So Joy is asking if we could separate the document into individual scorecards. I had to do that for my judges too. That was, I wasn't gonna have them go through that. So I totally agree with Joy on this one. I think it's probably up to whether Scott wants to house 13 documents somewhere where we can download them. mostly. I would agree with Joy on that. It would probably make things a lot easier for the
Yeah,
judges.
so yeah, what I do,
Yeah.
I take all the documents and then I go into Adobe and I separate them out. So then I have all
Yeah.
separate documents. I do that work beforehand. We can have Scott do it, or you can do it yourself. It's up to you. But yeah, don't send all of them.
Okay. I'll see if we can get it to, if we can change that up, and I'll get with Scott on that.
Yeah, so Scott says he'll upload the files next to the other combined file. So we'll work that out.
Make things easier.
Yeah, okay. All right, let me get to my, go ahead and stop Laura's and I will share.
Oh.
Okay, there we go. And is that right?
Looks good.
Okay, very good. So the last that we will do here on these change situations here, photos. Photos are one of the few, the personal column and the photos are the two categories that must be individual. Everything else can be a team, doesn't have to be, it can be individuals. But everything else can be a team, but these two must be individual. So that being said, these are the changes in red, black and white or color photo. One photograph, not a collage of photographs, okay? We want one photograph. And so, you know, you have an article and you've got 3 or 4 different photos that's stuck in there and they tell the story together. No, we want one photo. Don't give us a collage. And it's very important that the judges have unencumbered access to that. So if it's on a password protected website, give us the password so we can get in there to look at that, what it was, you know, how it was published. We want to see the publication and where it was published, and then, but also the original photo. So the original photo, with the photos, you got to have the original photo plus where it was published. Again, it may have been published in 3 or 4 different places. Just give us one. Just give us the best one. Don't make us guess which one we want to have to judge. Okay, I'm not going to send additional materials to my judges. Okay, in your abstract, then you want to talk about the impacts, and that in this case, you know, the number of viewers, the number of clicks, those kinds of things. What kind of impact has this photo had? And then we took out this one that's talking about the photo size. This is done back when you know, camera phones were you know, pretty poor, low quality. Yeah, the camera phones anymore now, they're all up above that. And so that's that, we took that out. So that's the photograph. Let's look at the, you know, does it tell a story? You know, there's 20 points there on that. Does it tell a story? You know, elements of logical relationship and those kinds of things. Unnecessary elements. The quality. I don't remember how many points that is, 15, maybe 25, 30, I don't know. Anyway, the impact. You know, does the photo capture the attention, the viewer's attention? And in the abstract, did you spell things out in the abstract, follow that abstract, one paragraph, those kinds of things? So those are the things they're looking at. Those are on the scorecards. You know, the scorecards are available for everybody. Get those out to your members. If you're a state chair, get them out to your members and say, hey, this is what they are. And so if you want to submit material, this is what they're going to be judged on. Okay, and then the other one, the event promotional package. What happens a lot of times on this one is we would get several postcards scanned into one, a collage again. I don't like collages, but what we want to see is 3 methods and just pick the best one out of each one of those methods. Not here, we did all these postcards. So no, we did 5 postcards and this was the best one. So just kind of give it to it that way. And so that's really the only change we made on that social media post. not a serious, and I would be cautious with the social media post because, let's see, do we say in here? We don't want to have our judges have to have a membership, Instagram or Twitter or Facebook membership. I don't know, probably just about everybody has, I look at Facebook once or twice a year. That's not, you're not going to reach me through Facebook, but a lot of people do, and that's okay. But we don't want to have the judges to have to get an account in order to see the material. So if it's that kind of a situation, the better thing would be to have a screenshot and a PDF of this was our Facebook post, and it had this many views. You get the analytics, all that from it. You can get that kind of information from that. Just don't make the judges have to go to someplace where they would have to have some sort of an account. Okay, and so I think that's probably the most important takeaway on that one. Again, the criteria are there. That's all on the scorecard. And, readability, design, appearance, this you're trying to get people attracted to it. So the event promotional package. All right. I don't know why that came up like that. Okay. So that's the end of that. I will stop sharing. Do we have any more questions?
I don't see any at the moment.
Okay, we're here to help. So if you're a state chair and you have something, I actually had some people ask me, where would this fit? It's we tried to get a new category put together. The board didn't accept it. One where we could put things like games and a lot of these cool things that you're doing out there, but they just don't fit into a category really very well. So as state chairs, you need to try to help your members see where they would fit if they, and so talk with you, if you're, a member that's going to submit, talk with your state chairs. If they have a little trouble trying to put it into a category, they can talk to the regional vice chairs. They have a hard time putting it in a category. I'm more than happy to answer what my opinion would be. And keep in mind that it is opinion. We try to make the parameters such that it's really hard to have opinion. A fact sheet and the publication of a fact sheet is a certain size. At this point, the way it goes, a publication is over the size of a fact sheet, and the fact sheet is up to 4 pages, and the publication is over 4 pages, and then a book. But we may have to redefine that this next year. We'll see how that goes this year if it causes too much trouble. But your committee, we're here to serve and help you. So please let us know how we can help. Deadline's coming up really fast.
5 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Out
All
a
right.
little early.
I think that's it. I mean, it's never a sin to end a meeting early, right?
No, it's a blessing.
All right. Thank you for your participation. And if you've got no more questions, we will go ahead and let Scott end the meeting for us. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate your
Thank
service.
you.
Bye.